What lies beneath? Day in and day out, we go through so many various emotions. And many times, some of them are pleasant and optimistic, and some of them are difficult to digest, process, and deal with. Ever wonder what underlies negative emotions like anger? Many times, we all want to explore deeper, more compassionately the emotions we experience. However, it's hard, as many times anger and emotions that are deep like this can be something we're afraid of. Anger turned inwards has negative consequences of depression, self-scrutiny, judgment, and anger turned outwards can lead to disappointment, hurt, anger, let out in hostility, displeasure, annoyance, irritability, and maybe even violence. Anger is just seen as a negative emotion, whether internally taken in or externally displayed. It can come across as jealousy, hate, and extreme sadness. Plain and simple, anger can be seen as a dangerous emotion with explosive, violent, and destructive tendencies. Most of us are afraid of the anger and what it can lead to within ourselves, in our relationships, in our circumstances, and most of all, we fear sometimes consequences that can be unpleasant. Anger is what is known as a blanket emotion or a secondary emotion, which means anger is a superficial word that covers a lot of territory but doesn't really explain what's going on. When I say I'm angry, you kind of have a general gist of what I'm going through, but you don't really understand what I'm angry about or what's underneath it. Underneath anger comes a lot of other emotions that we really do need to address and acknowledge. Under that anger are true emotions, real feelings that you're going through that many times you need to express to yourself so you know what's really going on, and you also then can communicate to others effectively and clearly of what's really going on. For example, anger can stem from a lot of deep, deep emotions about yourself, real feelings that you are going through. Anger can stem from love. Anger can stem from frustration, feeling betrayed, feeling guilty, feeling sad, feeling lonely, feeling bored. Anger can stem from feeling a loss of control in life, feeling humiliated, embarrassed, incompetent, incapable. Anger can stem from feeling denied, worthless, hopeless, not good enough. Many of these words I'm saying are words each and every one of us can relate to. Anger oftentimes is just a superficial blanket word, but underneath, really it hides all our deep-seated insecurities, self-doubt, and fears that come tied to real emotions we hold on to. Real emotions don't always mean that they're true. Real emotions just mean that we're feeling that way, and they're real feelings that we possess. But the accuracy, many times there's a lot of cognitive distortions or distorted ways of seeing reality that come underneath that. Many times we feel anger from a place of love, and it can come across as jealousy, or sometimes insecurity, or not feeling good enough, or not feeling pretty enough, or smart enough. Your head might know that's not true. I know I'm pretty. But inside, when you're feeling angry, you might be feeling anger because inside you don't feel pretty enough. There is always a level of truth, but our insecurities don't always come with truth. They come with just emotion, loaded emotion. And many of us sometimes just struggle with understanding it all. What we're angry about, meaning those insecurities I mentioned earlier, They're not always true, but they feel true. They feel loaded, and they feel like something we need to address. Many of us, why don't we communicate those emotions? Well, it takes a lot of courage. It takes courage to face your insecurities and say, hey, I feel lonely right now. That's why I'm poking at you. I feel a loss of control in my life, and that's why I'm trying to control you. I'm feeling insecure about my job security here, and that's why I'm asking so many questions. Or feeling incompetent, or not knowing my place in comparison to others. It's hard for us to face up and communicate with others what's really going on. And so many times when we're in pain with our insecurities, what do? When you're in pain, you spill over onto others. By spilling over onto others, you cause people pain. And anger, oftentimes spilled over onto others, can lead to jealousy, hatred, anger, violence, betrayal, blame, shame, guilt. So it's important to start recognizing our anger and recognizing what is beneath emotions of anger that we hold. It's easy to say I'm angry. What's harder is to acknowledge what's beneath it. Look underneath your emotions of anger. What really stems underneath it? Where is your anger coming from? What are the real emotions you possess versus the ones you're displaying? Oftentimes we need to acknowledge, pause and reflect to look at what's really going on within us. As we recognize what's going on within us, then we can communicate it to others effectively and have other people have compassion for where we're coming from, as well as acknowledge and deal with it versus react, repel, deny, and walk away from us. Let's go deeper. Let's start taking a moment in each and every situation that we feel intense emotions like anger and look at what lies beneath. Let's take a mindful moment right now to take a deep breath in and out and start recognizing moments or the last time you were angry. Can you start looking at what stemmed underneath your anger? Where was it stemming from? What are the deep-seated feelings you possess about yourself or insecurities you hold and low self-esteem that you're having a hard time facing and is coming out as anger, but really is showing you just something you got to work on, like a blind spot in your life? We're all perfect and a work in progress. It's important to take a step back, acknowledge and reflect on what's working in our life and what do we need to fine-tune and do better with. Let's take a mindful moment now. Take a deep breath in and out. And take a moment compassionately to look at the last couple of times you've been angry. What was really beneath it? What insecurities were being, suppressed? And have compassion for yourself right now to acknowledge it. As the first step to treatment is always awareness. The more you're aware of what's going on underneath, the more you can address, deal with situations, and move forward. Let's take a mindful moment. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Another deep breath in and breathe out. Allow yourself to breathe deeply, and let's go into our mindful moment. Inhaling and exhaling, relaxing deeper and deeper with compassion to allow ourselves to learn and grow, to be better versions of ourselves. If your mind wanders away, gently bring it back and continue to breathe. Gently bring yourself back from your thoughts and recognize again, anger is an interesting emotion as it has so much more beneath it. Anger is important to address because it shows us that there's work underneath, work to address insecurities, fears, self-doubt. And it's important for us to grow as human beings by being authentic and acknowledging true emotions. Don't prevent yourself from seeing the truth about what you're really struggling with. Take a pause and reflect whenever you're angry. And breathe and acknowledge what's really going on. What am I really feeling? What am I angry about? Is it a loss of control? Is it feeling embarrassed? Is it feeling insecure, not competent, insecure, angry, lost, loss of control, lonely, bored, frustrated? What am I looking for? What's going on? Many times we fight, flight, or freeze when it comes to anger. But pause and reflect. Take a mindful moment and go inwards to explore what is really going on versus get defensive or angry, repressing it or projecting it. We need to look at a new way to move forward with these emotions, as many times each and every one of us want to feel more in control of our emotions, want to feel more in charge of ourselves. And really, we all do want to be higher, better versions of ourselves. Let's learn to lift the blanket and see what's really going on the inside. What's underneath? What are your true feelings behind situations that trigger anger? And then also have compassion and have courage to face those dark words that sometimes are hard for us to acknowledge: loneliness, fear, self-doubt, anger, guilt, betrayal, victimization, feeling taken advantage of, feeling stupid, feeling naive. We use these words and we're quite hard on ourselves. Self-scrutiny is very common. And so let's each and every one of us improve our communication first and foremost with ourselves, and then improve our communication with others. The only way to speak to others authentically and truly is first to start with yourself. Recognize what's really going on so that when you talk to someone, you're not in defending mode, but instead of being defensive, you are able to explain yourself accurately and take ownership of difficult emotions that you are processing, going through, and needing to maybe work on. This allows for more authentic interactions with yourself, with others, and does definitely open the door to positive changes in our lives. So as a simple reminder, when anger shows up, pause and reflect. Take a step back rather than act out in anger and impulsivity. Respond versus react, please. Take time away from others to allow yourself to explore what is underneath your anger, and allow your anger to decrease by taking moments of breathing and mindful moments to explore what's underneath that big blanket word called anger. Explore the underlying sadness, disappointment, insecurities, or fears that are triggered by your anger. Acknowledge these true feelings underneath. Commit to positive changes that tackle problematic situations in your life. Each and every one of us, remember, you're perfect and a work in progress. Looking at those insecurities underneath your anger are nothing but the fine-tuning you have to do, the work in progress part. Don't be ashamed of it. Each and every one of us have to work on things. Acknowledge yours, take charge, and move forward.